Hello, everybody. It is me, DemetraKaye, and I'm sitting here with the recovering Democrat, Donovan Saadiq, and it is the DemetraKaye podcast. It is Saturday. It is a very frigid Saturday here in the H-Town, Houston. It's about 49-ish or so. Yesterday it was about 42. It was very cold. So we're going through our little cold snap. I guess our winter freeze or whatever. But anyway,
y'all get ready to hit the Cancun like Ted Cruz before
you
the
better
freeze
believe it.
hits.
You better believe it, okay? So anyway, it's not too bad so far, knock on wood. So anyway, thank you so much for being here on the DemetraKaye Show. We promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even. And so again, Donovan and I are just doing this podcast with ourselves just so we can give a full, well-rounded conversation and give our opinions about whatever topic that we may discuss, whether it's relationships, politics, money, Donovan's hate for wigs and weaves, whatever it may be. We will discuss that.
Yes. Okay? Plus, contractually, Demetra was obligated to do this show because she was contractually obligated, and I was going to sue her ass.
Hey, as long as I owe you, brother, you'd never be broke. Okay. So anyway, today we are going to talk about Charlamagne The God. He did and I would love to play it for you here, but we might get in trouble for playing the interview. So y'all can go to the Breakfast Club and check it out. But I'm going to give you a little bit of spiel on it, where he did a donkey of the day for the Democratic Party, where they refused to pass voters' rights. Of course, you guys know that's been a fight in Congress for a very long time. As you guys
real quick, is it voters' rights or Negroes' rights?
Well, exactly. We know exactly who that infringes.
Because Afghans don't have to worry about voting. When they come here, they can vote. Asians could come here, they can vote. White people, they can vote.
Right.
Hispanics, they can vote. Even in New York City, San Francisco, and I believe Chicago, they're making it to where if you're in the country as an illegal at local elections, you can vote. But we can't get Black people to vote their rights.
Right. So we also know that every 25 years that it needs to be voted upon whether we could still have the right to vote. As Donovan just said, everybody else that considers himself to be marginalized or new here in the country and really don't necessarily even legally belong here, they have voters' rights in some areas. New York is one of those places. And so, again, they have failed to pass voters' rights. And as Donovan also said, that really pertains to Black people, right? And when we say they, we mean the Democrats, because the Democrats own the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They could get rid of the filibuster if they wanted to. Getting rid of the filibuster would alleviate the Senate, which, has a lot of Republicans, but it's still majority Democrat right now. It'll get rid of that stall that they have there, and they can say, bam, this is what we want to pass. Now, keep it in mind that Black people are the reason that Democrats are in office. You guys sat up there, heard Joe Biden say when he was accepting the nomination that you Negroes, that's what you really want to say, stood by me. So I'm going to stand by you. He has not done that yet. There's a lot of things that, they said they were going to do. One of the things was the George Floyd and Justice and Policing Act that gets rid of qualified immunity for police officers. That is no longer even being discussed. That at one point in time, even before Joe Biden got into office, they talked about HR 40, which is the study of the reparations. You haven't heard anything else about that. You haven't heard
$50,000 in student loan debt.
Right. And, the Medicare for all, which affects everybody. So the point that I'm making is, and they know we want reparations. But the other problem is, too, when we're taking Joe Biden to task, we need to take the other Negroes in the Democratic Party to task, like Jim Clyburn, who is he's the fourth most powerful Democrat there. And he continuously takes things off the table for Black people and advocates for everybody else. And then you have this thing.
Yes, Miss Nancy.
Yeah, Congressional Black Caucus, who they advocate for everybody but Black people. And so,
wait. Real quick, hold that thought. I got a question for you. They've trotted out the Obamas and said you got to vote like your life depends on it, right? Michelle said that when they're ginning up to get to the vote on voting rights for Black people. Then they brought out the King family, right? And the King family came out and they were like, oh, it's got to be done. I'm sorry. The son is not the father. I'm sorry. The son needs to go sit his ass down somewhere. Bring out Dexter. Dexter's a better speaker. Kind of looks like his father too. But anyway, So they brought the King family out. Oh, this voting rights bill has to pass and blah, 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 blah. Because we haven't heard nothing from these people until, we need to hear from them, right? They trot these people out. Then the Congressional Black Caucus. Oh, these congressmen know so much about the stock market. They got inside tips to the stock market. They didn't know that the voting rights bill was, coming up and needed to be voted on. Why are they going to wait till the last minute, which I call panic politics? They put us in a panic so that we have no other choice but to vote for it because it's gonna pass. It's now. We got to vote right now. When they've had over a year to do this, right? My question to you, Demetra, and the people listening out there is, now that it's failed, where are all these people?
Well, again, this is, and I think a lot of things here are going on with this voters' rights thing. Of course, it's like 30 plus states who have altered the voting rights. They're asking for people to have their ID and, making certain measures. You can't give people food in lines, and, you can't just mail in your ballot anymore. You have to show proof of ID and a whole bunch of other stuff, which I don't necessarily have a problem with the ID thing, because you have to have an ID. They go pick your food up, and if you order it online in some places.
You have an ID to get in some public buildings.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that. And listen, if you're talking, because I've heard this argument, I think it was from Kamala Harris. Oh, well, there's a lot of people, Black people or people who are low income, they can't afford to get an ID in some cases, some senior citizens. That's a goddamn lie. Excuse my French, y'all, because you know what? Most of those people you're talking about getting some sort of government aid, and they got to have what? An ID, right, to collect that stuff and even file for that stuff. So it's all, like you said, smoke and mirrors. And so this is the thing that makes me wonder, because at first, you guys remember, you heard Joe Biden say when he sat with the Negroes and he pretty much whipped them behind closed doors in the house. Y'all gonna have to learn to get along with these Hispanics because they outnumber you, and it's just the way it is, and all that other stuff, right?
You ain't gotta cater to y'all.
But guess what happened though? They realized that all that haughtiness, all the Hispanics are coming over and taking over, is backfiring. Why, Donovan? Why do you think their plan is spoiled with the Hispanics as far as voting is concerned?
Well, because most Hispanic, half of they get here under the Democratic policy, but more than half of the Hispanics vote Republican.
Bingo. So it's backfired. It's backfired. So now they gotta say, okay, hey Negroes, how you doing, Negroes? Remember when I was talking salty to you and all grimy and greasy? Well, and now not only that, they know that Black people are starting to wake up and say, hey, you know what? Middle finger to the Democratic Party. And Donovan, tell us your story about your mom.
Well, okay, my mom is a product of her environment. She's a baby boomer, and she was in the civil rights era movement, and she did her little part to storm the city halls or Baton Rouge back in the day. I mean, everybody has their own little story from the civil rights era, from their towns and stuff. And they tried to integrate lunchbox. Thank God, Mom, you weren't successful because they might have poisoned you. But anyway, think about it. It makes no sense to go sit at a counter and say, please serve me, and you don't belong there. Sure, we're going to serve you all right. Okay. Right. So my mom is a staunch Democrat. Why? Because her mother was a staunch Democrat, and so on and so on and so forth, right? She was raised Democrat. And so me and my mom would get into these cat and dog like arguments and fights. Well, we marched with King, and we did this, and y'all ain't doing that. I said, well, Mom, okay, and don't be wrong. I mean, it was a constant thing. I give my mom her respect because she's an elder and stuff like that. I let her have her opinions. But I didn't give up talking to her, because I would go and call her and I'd say, well, Mom, your boy Clyburn's on here. He ain't doing this. He took away qualified immunity. He just said, oh, we don't need that. Well, what good is a bill if you take away the qualified immunity? My mom goes, well, yeah. And I kept talking to her. And guess what? One day, after seeing what's been going on, because my mom finally retired from her federal job, and now she has nothing but time on her hand to really pay attention to what's going on, right? She calls me and she says, how do I become an independent? I said, what? You want to become an independent? Yeah, that's right. And we got into it, whatever. I was trying to tell her what was going on and stuff. So the moral of the story is, if you think these older people are not listening, they are. They are. The point is, when they can't defend the bullshit anymore is when they get the epiphany.
And then how often and if I'm in the minds of Joe Biden and the Democrats who have done this to Black people, and like you said, your mom's demographic age group is their most loyal.
Yes, that's the most loyal base, right?
Yeah, loyal members of the Democratic Party, if you will. And so when you start to lose them, you're going to actually start to lose them for a couple of reasons. One, because the nature is saying, hey, we want you back now,
Right.
And two, like you said, they watch the news more than we do.
Yeah.
And so CNN and MSNBC and all of them, you cannot continue to spin lies for the Democratic Party because, for one, as I said, they watch the news the most, and they heard Joe Biden get up there say, you stood with me, I'm staying with you. And yeah, we're going to look into Medicare for all. We're going to look in, because believe it or not, there's a lot of senior citizens that still have student loan debt, and they will pay and have it until they die, and all the other things that are just, and people in your mom's age group, my dad's age group, they all saw what happened to George Floyd. And they didn't like that. And they also heard the Democrats say, we're going to get rid of, qualified immunity is going to be in the George Floyd. And
y'all young people get out the streets and we got it. You elect us to Georgia. We going to give you $2,000. We going to do all of this stuff.
And so they see that there's been no progress to that. So like I said, no matter what they say on CNN, MSNBC, and all these other liberal channels, that you cannot deny that the Democratic Party, Joe Biden and them, have kicked Black people in the teeth and in the ass and saying, we will not honor anything. And guess what? We still want y'all to come out there and vote for us because we's trying.
We tried. And nothing with my mom is, when I had to show her in regards to some of these politicians that she grew up with. So you have Maxine Waters, you have all of these so-called icons. My mom basically almost just took her belt out and told me to go get a switch when I started talking and showing John Lewis's record as a congressional member, Bobby Rush's record as a congressional member. My mom could not defend it. She did not understand how could these people be in office 30 plus years and not do a damn thing specifically for the people that look just like them. But I can show my mom, look, they're for the dreamers. They're for this person. They're for that group. Oh, they're on for the Asian bill. Oh, they want to give Indian tribes more money than what Joe Biden already gave them. My mom could not, in good conscience, defend it.
It's at some point in time, and the other crazy part about this too, Donovan, is a lot of these people who defend nothing, these people are Christians, and so you being Christian, why are you continuing to defend nothing, and why are you continuing to defend liars? Because that's what the Democrats are. They are liars. And I know somebody's going to watch it and say, well, what about the Republicans? Republicans don't throw rocks and hide their hands, though.
Right.
They know who they are.
And the thing is, stop deflecting with that Republican stuff. You don't need Republican votes right now when you have the presidency, the Senate, and the House. There is no excuse to bring up. Yeah, there is no excuse to bring up the Republicans. We know they're not going to vote. If we get some votes, that's even butter on top of the bread. But we know they're not going to vote. But still, the point is, that is crazy to argue. You got the majority and you're arguing about what the other side ain't doing.
And you know what I think too, Donovan? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Because I be looking into stuff.
Right. But you're wrong often. But go ahead. I have no problem doing
it. But anyway, what if this is a strategy of the Republicans to say, okay, because think about it. They've said yes to everybody else. They said yes to the Asians. They said yes to the Afghans. They said yes to a whole lot of other stuff with them cause other people. But when it comes to Black people and Black people stuff, no. You know why I think that is? I think it's a strategy. They're like, we're going to expose these Democrats for who they are. We're going to show these Negroes the party that they are showing their allegiance to for many, many decades. This is what they think of them, because to everybody's point, and even the Republicans know it. We heard it on the hot mic on the Charlamagne The God thing. They said that the Democrats are basically stupid for not getting rid of the filibuster. So I think it's a strategy of the Republicans to expose the Democrats to Black people, that these people who you're so loyal to, they could, but they won't. What you think about that?
No, you know what? That's a good theory because we've been saying for years, for a while now, okay, if the Democratic Party started as a racist party to begin with, why would they change now if that's the basic platform of their party? Yeah, you had some good ones in there, like FDR gave some more opportunities, but FDR gave opportunities because there was a shortage of white men who were fighting the war. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he did it out of necessity. A lot of stuff's done out of necessity.
And his
Now,
wife,
and his wife was like, hey, let's do this. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So fast forward, when my mom would tell me, oh, well, the Democratic Party, and she said this to me, the Democratic Party is the party of the working man. Show me where? When? What, 60 years ago? 70 years ago? Because in the last, all I can say is in the last 40 years that I was an adult, in those last 40 years, all I've seen is corporatists.
Right.
I mean, unions are being busted up all over the place. What are the Democrats doing about it? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
So that thing is this. If that is the Republican strategy, which is possible, what's wrong with that strategy? Because maybe now Black people will stop depending on the government and saying, you know what, we're out here on our own.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the strategy. I think it's I love all things strategy, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's an excellent strategy because it's working. It's really working because even still, you'll have a lot of Negroes. Well, they're being blocked. They're trying with the Republicans. And I call them out all the time. I said, how when the Democrats own everything? They own and control everything, but they're not using the power. I said when the Republicans were confirming Supreme Court justices left and right, I said that they say, well, let's be courteous. Let's see what our Democratic partners across the aisle think. They were like, screw you. It's done.
How many people remember during the insurrection, white folks in the insurrection? What do you guys really think that was about? What do you think that was about, Demetra?
I think it was about them holding on to their power, and they, because Trump, he brought up, because this is what I hate. I hate when people raise this argument. Oh, when Trump got elected, it was all these racists. They came out the closet, and I never. And I say, you know what? Are you stupid or are you dumb? Okay. Do you think that Trump created racists, or do you think they were already there? Trump spoke to them. He spoke to their whiteness. Now, you want to know something crazy? I don't think Trump really believes all that nonsense he was spewing them, but he spoke to their whiteness and how it's in danger, and we need to protect it. And if you don't, protecting that is keeping me in office. And guess what? They stole this from me. And so he spoke to those people, and most of those people were white. There was a few peppers in the bunch.
Sure.
They ran up there.
Wait, the peppers were in the bunch because they were told to pick up their government check at the counter.
Right, and they thought, okay.
What's going on here?
Right. But that's what they were going to protect. They were going to protect what Trump told them and what they already been believing, that their whiteness was in danger. That's why they were there.
Right. Now, if you guys go back and look at some of the videotapes when the rioters and the insurrectionists were told to leave the Capitol when they were clearing the Capitol, if you listen, and I got to go find that audio tape, but I remember specifically a insurrectionist was saying, don't make us come back here. They were sending a message to their servants that you are not representing me and my interests. Like you said, it goes exactly with what you said. They were saying, don't make us come back here. Now, notice, after all of that happened, Kevin McCarthy fell in line. All the Republicans fell in line because their constituents said, don't make us come. That was
it was that, and because Charlamagne also talked about this during his, monologue in regards to the Democratic Party refusing to pass voters' rights. He talked about how Trump sent the gang out there on the Republicans that wouldn't get in line. Exactly. And guess what? A lot of those Republicans lost their seat at the behest of Trump, saying they refused to get on board with the narrative that the election was stolen from me. And that's a fact. So I love that Charlamagne brought that out. We're going to get to Charlamagne in just a minute because he ain't innocent. But I love that he brought it out because Joe Biden also has that power, the bully pulpit, if you will, to say, hey, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema or whatever her name is, they not playing along. You people who have the power to vote them out, y'all need to do that.
Yeah. But think about it. Everything that Joe Biden did for these groups that wanted something, because remember, one of the greatest things that the civil rights people always tell us is, we've always been the people that stand up for other people. We're the civil rights people. We marched and we did this. So everybody looks to us. We had the Jews with us, then they got theirs and then they left. We had the Mexicans with us, they got theirs and they left. So on, so forth, right? You guys know where I'm going with this, right? I said, okay, all right, okay, fine. We are the people that stand up for everybody else. So as we let everybody else cut in front of us, go ahead, you can go. You got yours, good. Are you good? Good. All the groups have gone. He did all that in 45 days from inauguration. Those groups were served. How do you defend? Okay, now it's our turn. There's nobody else to serve but us. What's the holdup? So what has Joe Biden been doing for almost 8 months?
Telling Black people to get in line and I'm not doing nothing specifically for you. And
right, but get in line for what? There's nobody else in front of us. We're next. Serve us.
Well, I'm sure you like, just wait for it. There's some more things I want to give everybody else, and you're going to watch that happen. Right. But the other thing too is, now this is very problematic for me for a whole bunch of reasons. And help me out here, Donovan. So somebody like Charlamagne The God, y'all saw the infamous interview that he had with Joe Biden where he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. That came from Joe Biden. As
by the way, Charlamagne The God, he is on the payroll with the Democratic Party. That's why they go and interview with him.
Well, so that and Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club, they went hard in the paint for Joe Biden and Kamala. They had Kamala up there a couple of times. She was talking about, you know what I'm saying, Fife, and they didn't know Fife was dead.
What? Smoke weed? Am I Jamaican? You know?
Yes, where she had all those wonderful sound bites of, canned stuff to try to sound cool and all of that. So the point I'm making is the Breakfast Club, they went hard in the paint for the girl. They was telling people how, she's the best one with a job, ignoring all the people ignoring the people saying Kamala has a track record that's negatively affecting Black people in California. She is the top cop. She is the lady who locked up a lot of Negroes. They forewent all of that advice. Even Joe Biden, after he said you ain't Black, and they double down. So this is problematic for me.
And remember, Simone Sanders, she was on it. Where's she at now?
Right. Well, this is problematic for me because, for one, if you see people like Charlamagne and them starting to have buyer's remorse, and not only buyer's remorse, one thing I would say about Charlamagne and them I admire is at least he had the cojones to do it in public. Like, he was so loud and wrong about it. At least he had to say, okay, to hold them to task. And so when you see people like him flipping, that's a problem. But the other problem is Charlamagne and them got 5 million subscribers that listen to the Breakfast Club at some point in time. And a lot of people listened to when Joe Biden was on there. They listened to when Kamala was on there. And they also heard Charlamagne and them, big up them. Oh, we need to get them. We need to get Trump out. And it's like, but dude, everybody tried to tell you this was a bad idea. Get Trump out and get what? People tried to tell you that Joe Biden was tough on crime. He is the father of all these crime bills and the 3 strikes law and all that. And you did not care. So you got to hold the L on this one too.
Right. But you also got to remember too, what did Joe Biden say? He told you, I'm the status quo candidate.
And I'm not changing.
Yeah, I'm the status quo candidate. Now for all you, like my mom's generation, as you get older, you become more conservative. Okay. So all of this, they're going to find a way to blame on progressives and people like us. Oh, you guys or whatever.
Heard from them though, the progressives.
Right. So you voted this guy in who said, I'm the status quo president. He's a moderate. And, he was in the Senate for 40 years. Remember, you guys? Oh, I could reach over the aisle. I got friends over there. It's going to be a piece of cake for me to work with them because I know how the Senate works. I'm the man. Get me in there. This man said on a national press conference that he had no idea that the Republicans would do what they're doing in obstructing, but yet he was president with Obama for 8 years and he had no idea. But you know what? But I think that was why he thinks that. That's that white supremacy. He goes, well, I'm white, so they're going to work with me.
You know what? This is going to sound crazy, okay? But he's actually right.
Mm-hmm.
They are working with him.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he's working with them.
Right.
And he's trying to pass it off that I'm not. They're actually on the same page.
Right.
In, suppressing the voting rights of Black people and everything else pertaining to Black people. So he's actually telling on himself that I thought they would work with me, but the fact is they are working, or you're working with them because you have the power to do things to help Black people, but you won't. So you actually are working together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the same thing like when he says, well, I don't have the power to do student debt, when we know that's a lie. He sends it to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi either shelves it or no, it's him. It's me. It's him. Which way did they go? Which way did they go, George? Which way did they go? That's what it's like. And we sit here and time keeps ticking. And you know what? The midterms are 8 months away. Do you think the Democrats are concerned about losing House seats and all this other stuff? I don't think they're concerned at all, because if they were, again, the Voting Rights Act just failed. It's tabled. It's done. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where is the King family? Where is these people who are, where's the Obamas? Oh my God, like your life depended on it. They don't care.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money, and it's panic politics. They're going to keep you riled up. Oh, look. Think about it, folks. If you guys are listening now, think about this. They have all the tools they need. What is stop? Everybody else has been served. Have you ever been to a McDonald's and everybody's been served, or a restaurant? Everybody's been served. Okay, now you and your family sit down. There's nobody. The hostess is sitting there on her phone. The waitresses are out there chatting by the kitchen door. There's nothing else going on but to come and serve you, and you and your family are sitting there waiting. That's what it's like.
It's like the 10 billion served except for your black ass.
Right. Right. That's exactly what is going on with the Democratic Party. And like you said, when Charlamagne the God and all these other people start changing their tune, Simone Sanders is gone and quiet, and she took the money, is going to do a TV show, which nobody's probably going to watch. Something is definitely wrong, because you got to think about it like this too. And I said this on my podcast and on my show. What baby boomers got to understand is this: there are more of you passing away. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory. There are more of them, passing away than younger people being born into the world, and more people becoming 18 years old, becoming eligible voters. So did you see where I'm going with that? So basically, their voting base is not growing. It's getting smaller, while the younger generations is getting bigger. Things are changing.
Yeah, and that's, unfortunately, that generation, our parents' generation, and if there's some before them still living, they got something out of the civil rights movement.
75%. 75% of 14%. Okay, we're 14% of the population, supposedly. 75% of that 14% of Black wealth is controlled by baby boomers.
Right. Yeah, and so,
So why aren't their children and grandchildren having any wealth? What is going on with that?
Because they got what they wanted, and that was to eat, as you say, seasonless soup with white people, live next door to white people, pee and drink next to white people.
We just want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, and from that era, you can see there's a lot of things that's working together. Inflation was still at, hand in hand with wages and stuff. There was still a lot of industry where Black people could go work in the manufacturing plants and, buy a house and send the kids to school, and, the wife could stay home and all of that. But we have been left behind when the civil rights movement took place, because we left our stuff, and we went for the false idea of civil rights, and thinking that now that these laws are passed, we're really going to get equality. Well, ain't no law in the world going to make a white supremacist think you're equal, right? That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said there is no such thing as civil rights until you have human rights. First of all, we don't even think of you Black people as humans. So what in the world makes you think we're going to give you some civil rights, right?
Stop right there. Stop right. That is not true. What you're saying, we're in a kumbaya moment. But just the other day, Mitch McConnell said what? In regards to who gets voting rights and who doesn't.
Oh yeah, because he said that black people weren't really Americans. But you know what though? Come on with the slow Freudian slip of the tongue, Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell. Come on with it. Okay, listen. That kind of stuff right there. See, Donovan, me and you were smarter than the average bear, right? So when I heard that, I laughed. I thought it was funny. You know what else?
So did I. I busted out.
You know what else I did? I agreed because he's right.
Mm-hmm.
I was having this argument with my brother, my sister, my younger brother and sister. They won't watch this, so you know I can say what I need to say. Okay, I was having this conversation, and my sister, yes, we have the same parents. Okay,
Yes, yes.
I was having this conversation, and she was like, "But what difference does it make? We're all American. We're American. Why do you want something specific for black people? We're all American." I said, "Do we not share the same DNA, sis? How do you?"
Don't worry. When I get her in the house of Donovan Ike, I'll get her.
Get it in check, boo. But I'm like, so here's Mitch McConnell saying basically black people don't see black people in America as Americans. But the thing is, y'all don't get mad. Ask yourself, where is the lie?
Mm-hmm.
Is he lying?
Well, let's go back let's go back about 17 years. When the black people were Katrina hit, what was all the white so-called servants in Congress saying? The refugees, the refugees, the refugees. You can't be a refugee supposedly in your own country. A refugee is somebody coming from another country. This is the truth. This is what they think about us.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but he like I'm one of those people. I like to do deductive reasoning and really like to critically think about things.
Critically think.
It didn't take me long to say, where was the lie, boo? Is he lying? Why? Well, like, we mad at this white man for saying what most white people think, and people in his, pay grade in Congress, they all feel the same way. Why? The proof, listen. The proof is in the pudding. He's telling you we don't see you Negroes as Americans because, for one, we're not ever going to pass nothing that is beneficial for you. And matter of fact, these laws were written against you. So we are telling you you are not American. Sit your black ass down somewhere. Wait for the plantations to open up, because at the rate y'all Negroes are going, that's where you're going to end up, because we didn't bring you over here to be American. And all these hundreds of years later, we still do not see you that way.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, you're always going to have these Negroes are going to say, well, what's the solution? Well, what are our black, and I hate when people say that, the black leaders, these people are servants. We're the leaders. Stop saying they're leaders. They're not. Does a leader enrich themselves? Unless we're in a kingdom, they don't necessarily do that. We're in an oligarchy, which is basically what we are. We're heading to. But look at all these so-called black leaders or servants. All of them are millionaires. You got Maxine Waters living in a $6 million home in Calabasas. I mean, we can go down the line. Jim Clyburn, poorest district in South Carolina. Where does he live? How does his family live? How does that work? And we're so accepting of that. And if 70% of black people are almost near abject poverty, why do we keep supporting these people? And another question I have is this. We are so loyal to a party, but then you look at where there's Democratic representation. Let me say that. Representation. It looks like a goddamn war zone. Explain that.
Well, I got the perfect answer. So America is a big, giant plantation. It is a big, giant plantation. And I say that because black people are still at the bottom and will probably, as Dr. Claude Anderson say, remain a permanent underclass. So the word permanent, you got to do the math, okay? Mm-hmm. The etymology with the word permanent is forever. Okay? That's what that means. And so are we back? Is it reversible to some degree? But America is a big, giant plantation in that even on the plantations, even in slavery, you had a couple of Negroes that were doing okay. Now, when I say okay, they got a fruit. I said a fruit, yes. Mm-hmm. Extra butter biscuits for them running around the plantation, dining on other black people.
I said, who you with?
Yeah,
who you with?
Right. There was a lot of Stevens on there who they did get a little, pat on the head. Oh, you did good.
They could talk to the master a certain way.
We telling on the Negroes that's plotting to leave up out of here. Ooh, master, they plotting on you. So those are your Jim Clyburns. Those are your Maxine Waters and your Sheila Jackson Lees and all of these exceptions.
I'm going to take out qualified immunity because I don't think we need it. At 83 years old, I don't think you need it either.
They will never. James Clyburn will probably never be in a position where he'll be pulled over and that will come to his mind like, damn, I wish there was some qualified immunity because I just got my skull busted in. And so those Negroes on the plantation, they are the gatekeepers for other black people. Like, I got it. Guess what, nigga? You ain't never gonna get it. And you know why you ain't never gonna get it? Because I'ma see to it. I'ma see to it that massa only see me, and I get all the extra butter biscuits and the droppings from the baking pan.
Wait, you can have them in there, but that means I gotta burn the sheets and all that other stuff.
Gatekeeping for massa to make sure that they keep getting what they're the little leftovers. They're gonna make sure all the other black people see, and this is the problem, but this is our fault though.
Yes.
We elect them to be the spokesperson for black people. Who in the hell, would keep electing the Congressional Black Caucus to be represented for black people? Well, goddamn, my mouth is a little salty today, y'all, because I get passionate about this. But when you have seen these Negroes have delivered nothing for you, why do you keep voting for them? Do you do it because they're black? Well, you got a Negro in New York, and me and you were just talking about this. Mayor Eric Adams, he's the newly elected mayor.
And a nigga that has a police background.
Yeah, well, he's a black dude. And somehow he got in there because I'm sure a lot of black people voted for him, which is how a lot of black people get elected. They usually have a lot of black people voted for him.
Right. Which is kind of crazy to me. You got a man that is a known former police officer.
He's black.
And the police give us all this hell, and you're going to vote for a man that most likely, because a police organization is a gang. You can't tell me any different, because you will see a policeman violating your rights, and the other policemen know this man's violating your rights, and they will stand by and do nothing. That is gang mentality.
He's one of those Negroes that thinks that I am a police first and I'm a black man last. But the problem is this, and I bring him up to say this. He is now talking about bringing plainclothes police officers back. They got rid of that in New York in 2020 when George Floyd was murdered, and police came under all the scrutiny. And so here's a Negro who has gotten up there and said, well, we got to stop. It's us against the killers. That's what he said. So, because there was killers in Harlem, police officers were shot, 11-month-old baby was shot. So he's trying to form this narrative that we need to bring this back. But you guys also know that the plainclothes police officers was under the stop and frisk that netted very little results, but it also harassed a lot of black and brown men repeatedly sometimes, right? Well, they said they found over stops like 1% of the time they found guns, and less than 9% of the people that were stopped were white. So it was more black and brown people. And so I say that to say that they've elected this Negro as the mayor who is pro-police and is talking about bringing back the plainclothes police officers who were responsible for the murder of Amadou Diallo and Eric Gardner and a whole bunch of other people. And he thinks that should come back. And he said, we're going to do it right. Now, how do you do it right when you have police officers who are bent on harassing and even murdering innocent black people? How are you going to do that right?
So basically what the police union has done is they went and got a black man willing to sell him soul, get his butter biscuits like Candace Owens. Don't be hating on Candace Owens because she's getting her check. And they said, okay, instead of us out there trying to sell this bullshit, we're going to get one of their own. And because we know Negroes fall for it every time. Look at all these Negroes they've had in Congress all these years that don't do shit for them, and they still vote for them.
It's your Val Demings. It's your Jackie. Her last name escapes me in LA. They just got rid of her ass and got the other cat. But it's those black people who are massa, whatever I got to do, I's gonna do it. Even if it means at the harming of my own people. I's do it. And so to your point, they get who they can find, but we help them get there. We think if he black, he all right. And the one that I think most of us learned our lesson was with who?
What do you mean, like
But both of the black people. Barack Obama, yes. We all learned our lesson. We won the first black president. I'm not gonna lie to kick it.
I voted twice.
on the strength of him being black, because we were told
we'd never seen it. Well, think about it. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before. Nobody had ever seen it.
He is the best example that we all should draw from and say, he was black. And guess what? This is where we failed as a voting bloc as black people. Obama never promised us nothing. You know what he did promise us? Noam Chomsky, who is Noam Chomsky is one of the best modern day philosophers and free thinkers, if you will. He says, Ann Coulter was right. Ann Coulter said Obama had this hope and changey thing. And he says, but Obama never defined what hope and change was, but most of us ran around like silly dumbasses. Oh, it's hope and change. It's the hope you change you can believe in. Si se prueba. I even knew the shit in Spanish, okay? Yeah. We was all running around talking about hope and change. But when you stop and think and ask anybody, well, what did that mean? I don't know. I was just saying the shit.
Well, hope and change, you hope you're going to get some shit. And the change was you see a black president.
Now, the change was we was going to change everything that you thought you was going to get into the hands of illegal immigrants and everybody else coming out. We was going to change that shit from one thing to the other. And so that's why we as black people, I always say this, okay? And you tagged me in something yesterday and I said it. It's our fault that these people, these Democrats, these black Democrats, these Joe Bidens and your Kamalas, it's our fault that they are there because we are stupid. And y'all know I hate to call people or something stupid, but I think when it applies, it's justly so, right? We are stupid. We are stupid to where we keep voting for oppression. And this is my other argument, Donovan. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't give a damn about voters' rights. You know why I don't give a damn about it? And I don't mean to be so crass. Sure. I don't give a damn about it because when we do get the right to vote, what are we going to do? Vote for oppression. We ain't gonna vote for nothing good. So are you want voters' rights so you can go make the wrong decision? Like what's going on here? So I don't care about voters' rights when we as black people stop being stupid, stop voting for oppression, and stop expecting. Like I tell y'all this story all the time about the frog and the scorpion. We're the frog. Okay, we're the frog in this situation. Where the scorpion asked the frog, hey, frog, give me a ride across the river. And the frog is like, shit, you got me messed up because I know you gonna sting me. And the scorpion is like, nah, man, I ain't gonna sting you because if I sting you, we both die. So the frog is convinced and he gets the thing on the scorpion on his back and he's going across the water. Midway in the water, the scorpion does what? He stings the frog. And the frog says, oh my God, you said you wouldn't do it. And the scorpion said, man, you crazy. I'm a scorpion. What else do I do?
Yeah, what else am I supposed to be doing?
We are the frog. And we keep getting stung by the scorpion donkey and then mad when the scorpion donkey keeps on stinging us. It's like, whoa, at this point, who's the dumbest? The scorpion or the frog?
Right. Well, let me ask you this, since we're on that talk. Okay, now we see this. Now, have you found any of those HBCU folks and the sororos running around and doing that? Because they've been very, very silent now, even more so now that the voting rights thing has not passed. So guess what? There ain't going to be no hoes to the polls.
Well, they were spotted. Last weekend was Founders Day for a lot of these sororities and stuff. So they briefly came out of hiding. I saw Kamala the other day. She talked about one RIP. I don't know who she was. Some lady who Cynthia, somebody. She was somebody president of a sorority and she died. I don't know what happened to her. But that's when they were out. And now they're back in hiding. Okay,
they went back into hiding.
But they might make a special appearance when they're asked to come out and put on their ski, all that stuff to come out there and get Negroes back out to the polls and lie to you and say, oh, democracy is in danger. We need to what do black people know about democracy?
Right.
We should, as black people, ask ourselves, what do we know about democracy in America? Nothing. So it's always been in danger for us because it's never benefited us. And so now it's in danger. And we supposed to put on our back cape and do something about it? Why?
Yeah, because I'm finding out a lot of people that were on that Joe Biden shit. Like, you have a good friend. Oh, he's so fine. Where's she at? You can't
I
find
haven't
these
seen
people.
her since.
Right. You can't find these people. But a lot of people are like, oh my God, we really screwed up. This guy's in here. Because everybody asked me, Don, what's the solution? What's the solution? So if you guys follow my podcast, I gave you a solution. When I'm going to be obstructed as the president of the United States by my own party, I would immediately start writing executive orders.
It's all part of the plan. Joe Biden is
he doesn't want to
happy
do it.
that he's being He's happy that he's being obstructed. Because listen, I know for a fact that Donovan and I tried to tell everybody, along with a lot of other people, that Joe Biden is a Dixiecrat.
Yes.
Always has been and always will be.
What was his claim to fame? Hey, every bill, law enforcement type bill, has the senator from Delaware's name on it, and that was him.
I'll do you one better. I am the author of every major and minor crime bill since 1976. In fact, he said that George Sr. wasn't tough enough.
Right.
And imagine that, right? And then he said that Bill Clinton, oh, you were wussy. You need to do something else with that 3 strikes law. And guess what? It's predominantly black people in prison under the 3 strikes law for stealing pizza and diapers and gum and
think stuff. About this. It seems like every week a black man is exonerated out of prison for a crime they didn't commit.
He, being Joe Biden, when he was a senator making all these crime bills, he was so proud of what he did was tied a lot of judges' hands, whereas a lot of judges on record said, I don't think this man should go up the river for 25 years to life for this, but my hands are tied because Joe Biden made sure that those crime bills had mandatory minimums that regardless of how I feel as a judge that you should probably get probation for this because of these mandatory
unless you're white.
minimums.
Unless you're white, then we throw that out completely.
Well, no, even still, but they rarely, they being the prosecutors, which Kamala was one, they rarely attached those harsh sentences on to white people. It was black people who got the book thrown at them. So a lot of judges was like, "There's nothing I can do. This kid, it's got to go up the river for his whole life because of these mandatory minimums that were put in place that are still
in place. Right, exactly. But see, nobody talks about that. Where's the Congressional Black? Okay, the Congressional Black Caucus is mostly women. The majority of the caucus is women. The backbone of the Democratic Party is women, black women. What are they doing?
They are securing the bag for their families and for themselves. They're securing the bag. They listen. Black people, when they get into power, or they start to get in power, originally they do help black people. I'm helping my people. Then when they get up in there, then they start saying, well, shit, I'm going to help myself because they see the inner workings and they understand, they realize I will never be able to help black people. Well, for one, because black people are stupid. Forgive me for saying that. They're stupid. They're always going to vote against their better interests. And so while I'm here, I'm going to get while the getting is good.
Right. What's that girl what's that lady from Missouri? She was homeless at one time.
Cori Bush.
Yeah. Where's her outrage?
She was outraged when she first got there. She was sitting on the steps, rallying for the homeless. Where she at?
Where you at?
She's getting the bag. And so listen, and I always say this, and Donovan, I know you feel the same way. I don't care if you get the bag once you get there. Make sure the people who sent you there get something too. I don't want to drive down my neighborhood and damn near tear off my front end because the streets are jacked up. Go to Washington and send bacon home for your constituents.
Right.
Do that, and then nobody's going to be mad if you get in the bag. We expect you to get something.
Right. The talk too. Right. The talking point now is, the census has changed the congressional districts now, and the Republicans are rewriting it. So now it's going to be so unfair. Well, when are you Democrats going to start fighting for the average man?
You're allowing them to do that.
Exactly.
But see, you hit on this earlier. They're all corporatists. They are all beholden to the money.
Well, wait. Which brings up another point. Wasn't it the Democrats that said the worst thing in politics is Citizens versus United, right? Citizens versus United, right? Money in politics. Oh, that's why we can't get nothing done. The money in the politics, it's unlimited. They can do all this other stuff, right? They have all the tools they need. What are they doing about Citizens United? Nothing. See what I'm saying? It's all rhetoric. It's all rhetoric and
rhetoric. I wrote my thesis on this, okay? Rhetoric and propaganda works on the ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
It works on the ignorant. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
It's to persuade those who will not research, those who are not critical thinkers, those who will not say, well, that sounds really good, but let me go, vet it myself and see. That's who that stuff works on. And then they fall for it. And then they are more certain than me and you and people like us. And so they deliver more oppression for us.
Well, here's the funny thing. Ralph Warnock in the Georgia Senate and the other guy, the white guy, when the bill didn't pass, the other senator, the young white guy, it begins with the I or something like that. He made an impassioned speech and said this was unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. I mean, at least he said something. You got Ralph Warnock, who sits in the pulpit of where Dr. Martin Luther King actually preached, and was a pastor at. Ralph Warnock is silent. You would think this guy would have said something after the bill failed and got out there and be like, oh, no, this ain't going to happen. But notice he is silent.
You know why?
Why is that?
He's a pastor and he's used to screwing people over. Okay? Let's keep it real. So him going to Washington ain't no different. He's just doing it on a bigger level. You know why we can't remember the white guy's name? Because they used the Negro to get black people to continue to vote for oppression. That's why we don't remember the white guy's name, because the white guy, I guarantee you, his constituents, the white people, are getting what's theirs to get. We remember Ralph because Ralph was used to get black people to the polls so they could flip over the Senate with Georgia. That's why we don't remember the white guy's name. And you know what? In this situation, y'all ass want to be forgettable because that means you're doing your job and you ain't raising smoke signals that you're not doing for your people.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the white guy I'm talking about, he clerked for John Lewis.
Yeah, but he probably did that. But I don't know much about.
That's how they get into politics. That's how they get in.
Wrong. Yeah, but I bet you his people aren't unhappy.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, he won.
Be doing something as far as his voting rights.
Yeah, the white guy won his race overwhelmingly.
Right.
Overwhelmingly.
Right.
Ralph Warnock barely scooched out against a woman that was appointed.
But guess what? He'll be there for years and years and years and years and years and years. I hate to say it, but he'll be there for years to come. You know why? Because black people, unfortunately, is like, well, we're going to keep him in there. Because, if we could be a Republican to come up in there. So we're going to keep him in there. Why?
Well, wasn't there a Cheryl Brown here in California that kind of said the same thing? If I lose this seat, it'll never be black again.
Well, it wasn't black when you had it, boo-boo, because you were serving corporate interest.
Right. Well, would we even have that issue if you were doing your job to begin with and serving the people?
Right. If you would that's what I'm saying. If you get your little change at the top and you help the people on the bottom, who's going to be mad? Like most people who vote are not stupid enough to say, well, they're going to go and they're going to say no to the white envelope. We know you're going to take a white envelope, but damn, boo. Can I have something in the district? Can I feel secure that if I get pulled over by the popo, that if they do something to me or somebody I love, they're going to be held responsible? Can I at least get that assurance?
Right. I mean, as a politician, they've legalized bribery for themselves. If that was me and you, we're going to jail. But, for them, that's called free speech. As much money as you want, whatever. So,
and that's why I really liked. I know Andrew Yang's, a lot of his stuff was problematic, but overall, I like Andrew Yang, and I liked him for one of the reasons that you just mentioned is the democracy dollars that he had that would have given every American $100 democracy dollars to put toward whatever campaign they wanted to get rid of the lobbying and all of that corporate interest. It would be funneled and paid for by the people. I love that idea, which is why he'll never be president.
Right.
But that was a great idea.
But here's what's sad. Okay. Do you know who is still out there advocating for reparations? And she's the one that kind of made it super, super popular. Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson is still out there. Her numbers are still bad, but the point is she brought it to the stage and she's still out there fighting. Okay, put it like this. The issue doesn't end because the campaign is over.
Right. But
she's still out there fighting.
So we got 7 minutes left here, okay? Mm-hmm. in 8 months, midterm elections
Predictions.
are going to take place to some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
What role are we as Black people going to play in it?
Well,
will this be a referendum or will this be a continuation?
Well, you know what? As a political pundit that I am, I'm telling you, from what we saw in Virginia, they brought out Obama and Virginia Black folks state. I mean, Demetra, you know, like I know, there are a lot of people that are done. Charlamagne the God is done. A lot of these people are done. They're like, you know what? I can't, my reputation is out here. I can't do this no more.
Because Black people are starting to wake up and can no longer deny that the Democrats are not for the people. Well, I tell you what, they ain't for Black people, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you cannot deny that. Well, like how, because what happens is, like I said, you big time Christians out there that keep advocating for the Democratic Party. If you advocate for a liar, that means you are one too. And what would the good Lord say about that?
Right. But what about the Republicans? Mitch McConnell just said, you know, that we're not Americans. White supremacy, two wings of the same bird.
And I want to further drive this point home about you good Christians that continue to vote for oppression for the rest of us. On that cross, but next to Jesus was what? A liar and a thief. And if you advocate for a liar that keeps stealing from Black people, that's stolen from us since we were brought over here, our reparations and our labor and all this other stuff, that makes you one too. And so how do you answer for that? How do you answer for you being a good Christian and you keep advocating for liars and thieves to do harm to your people? What would God say to you when you go up, if that's your destiny? You go up and he reads to you what you have done. Because you got to account for not, and I'm not a Christian, and I know this. It says that you Christians will be held to a higher standard. So what standard are you going to be held to if you keep on voting for oppression for your people and ignoring the blatant lies that are being told to you every election? What will you say?
Well, I'm going to say this in conclusion. 75% of all Black wealth is being held by baby boomers. If the younger generation wasn't taught anything in regards to home ownership, financial literacy, and stuff like that, how long, when Big Mama goes and she leaves the house to the grandchildren, how long do you think those kids are going to have that house? And don't get me wrong, 30% of the Black community is doing very well for themselves. I'm one of them, Demetra's one of them, so on and so forth. But the 70% of us are living in abject poverty. So that home that grandma and them, the baby boomers, worked so hard to get and, you know, and did all that, how long do you think that's going to last? If we don't get the right people in office to do what they need to do, we are, like you said, a permanent underclass, and that is where we're heading. And they know it.
Absolutely. And they know it. So, I mean, in closing, we as Black people need to continue to wake up and smell the coffee and read the room and everything else in between. Because if we keep voting the way we're voting, it's done. Go on and get the plantation clothes on, go hang up your Gucci and your Louis and all that other stuff, because you're going to be on the plantation. We used to joke about this a long time ago, but now I don't think that's so far off. But we have a chance to really send a message to these Democrats come the midterm elections that I would rather sit home and watch some on TV, you know, than to go and continue to vote for oppression for my people and to allow you to continue to kick me in my backside because I'm just that stupid. So we really need to think about hold the vote until we get something for it.
Yeah, it makes no sense to keep giving your vote. You get nothing. I might as well stay home and get nothing.
Yeah, okay, and save you some gas money. And so, in closing, Donovan, what say you before we get out of here?
No, what say me is, like, don't forget to tune in to DemetraKaye tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Time, and we're going to be on there talking with everybody and stuff like that. And also, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, Demetra, go ahead and hit that Cash App thing that we got going.
And to get thumbs up. This helps with the algorithm and all that. And we love and appreciate those of you guys who donate and donate often to the show. But for those of you guys who want to, there's information at the bottom of the screen. We have a PayPal, Venmo, and a Cash App. If you would love to donate to this show, Black Media, bringing you forth information and news you can use. And in closing, I would just like to say this, a big giant RIP to my big cousin, Michelle. who unfortunately and unexpectedly passed away.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, she passed in her sleep. Very devastating
Yeah.
to her children and all that. Devastating to me as well. Michelle was my older cousin by about almost 10 years, and so she would babysit us often. And even as I gotten older, we were able to talk about different things, relationships. Girl, he ain't shit. All that other stuff, type of thing.
The man bashing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Sessions.
so she's just a lovely, wonderful person, and so she will be missed. It's hard to come by great people like that, and so I just wanted to dedicate this show to her. And so,
Amen.
you guys,
Amen.
we will see y'all on Sunday at the DemetraKaye Show, 5 p.m. Central Time, where I don't know what we'll talk about, but it will be fun nevertheless.